A new political poll done by Emerson College has U.S. Senate candidate Graham Platner with a large lead over Governor Janet Mills ahead of the June primary. According to the poll, Platner has 55% support compared to 28% from Mills. 13% of those surveyed are undecided. If Platner were to win the Democratic primary, the poll shows that Platner would have the majority of support over Senator Susan Collins, 48% to 41%. If Mills wins the primary, 46% of people say they would vote for Mills, and 43% say they would vote for Collins. Nearly 1,100 people were surveyed. The poll has a margin of error of 2.9 points.